The Earth is facing an existential threat. What has to happen to save our planet? This snippet is taken from the Seoul Central Summit that we did on the 10th of June 2022, and Michael Wolff goes into great detail about how to save our planet. We can do this by each individual. We all have a duty on this earth, and if you resonate with this very strong, powerful message in this video, you can learn more. Feel free to reach out to me or Michael Wolff in order for you to be part of the change that's needed on the earth as we move forward. Any questions, then please let us know. I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, so increasing floods.
Yeah.
As you can see there, and increasing famine, the normal famine, and there's food shortages, all sorts of things going around the world. There's increasing migration, and there's a real risk of economic collapse, which can happen any day now, which is sort of stock markets are beginning to fall, and things like that. And we've got the war in Ukraine and several wars around the world. So it's a pretty dire situation around the world at the moment. So if you sum it all up together, what we've got is we've got these various waves, one after another, which are crashing down on top of us. So we start with, in this particular case, it's showing COVID at the bottom, and then we go and we've got economic recession, and we've got climate change, and then eco-collapse, and then extinction. And this is kind of what we're facing at the moment. And if we don't change now, radically, we've had it. Right, so faced with an existential threat, what has to happen? Right, so we're talking about what we can do to co-create heaven on earth, to make this planet the most wonderful place to live on instead of a living hell. According to Albert Einstein, this is the most important thing. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created. So if we carry on using the same thinking as we do at the moment, there is absolutely no way that we're going to be able to solve this problem. We have to change our thinking. We have to, in other words, we have to shift our consciousness in order to be able to address this problem. So that's the real issue. We can't rationalize it. We can't think it in our head. We've got to make the shift. And that's Einstein saying that. And what that means is we've all got to wake up. We've got to recognize and accept the existential threat. We've got to come together as one to resolve the threat. We've got to reverse capture and store carbon emissions, which is no mean feat. Okay. And then we've got to radically transform our lifestyles and our relationships with each other and our relationships with the planet. And we've got to do all that within the next 10 years. So the essential prerequisite is a radical transformation of consciousness from 160 on the Hawkins, 150 it is now, to 500 and above, which is love and above. Okay? We have to shift now, ideally in the next 5 years, but 10 years at most. That gives us enough time to radically change our lifestyles, which will take another 10, 20 years to do it. Okay, are you with me so far? Right, so how are we going to do that? So this is a map of the Hawkins scale, and it goes from, you can see there, it goes up to 1,000 on the left here. And you've got fear is actually 100 on the scale, and then love is 500. And what I'm saying is that love and above, there's 75 million people who are at that level at the moment, and 7.5 billion, most of humanity, who are below that level. And that has got to shift if we're going to survive. Okay, how to help 7.5 billion shift from 150 on the Hawkins scale to over 500 on the Hawkins scale within 10 years. And it starts with how to heal our individual and collective core wound. So the core wound is what holds us in separation consciousness. If we didn't have that core wound, we wouldn't be in separation consciousness. When we identify the wounding that we have created in separation consciousness, it is very easy to heal it in unified consciousness. Okay, this is really important. When we identify the wounding that we created in separation consciousness, it's very easy to heal it in unified consciousness. So we're holding this wounding somewhere in our energy field, and I use the chakras as where you can actually see where the wounding is being held and how intense the wounding is. Now, the good news is it only takes 2 hours to heal the core wound. 2 hours. I've been doing practice, consciousness raising practice, for almost 40 years. And I'm telling you that you can do it in 2 hours. So for 40 years, almost 40 years, I practiced Aikido, martial art, I practiced yoga, I practiced meditation. And I realized only a few years ago that I was still hanging on to my core wound. I hadn't healed it. I was going up the Hawkins scale. I started off, I was at 220 when I started, and I was getting up somewhere near 500, and I was making progress. So I was very proud of myself. I thought, well, that's fantastic. But then I realized it's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. And then I realized, actually, very simply, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you, that it's really easy to heal our core wound, and it's really easy to shift out of separation consciousness if we choose to do so. That's the easy bit. And then it takes a few months, that's the more difficult bit, to embed, integrate, and sustain it. And that requires practice. So every time you feel some pain or some emotional upset or something worries you or whatever it is, what you've got to try and do is actually feel the pain, process the pain, release it, let it go, instead of pushing it down. Our habit is to push it down. That's how we were taught, and that's what we've been doing all our lives. So that's a little bit more difficult with that few months to embed, integrate, sustain it. What this then leads to is when you do the initial 2 hours healing, you then experience a rapid transformation of consciousness. And now the thing is to sustain it. And what I discovered is you didn't just go to 1,000, which is what Hawkins calls Buddha Christ consciousness. You can go all the way to infinity. And most people who do this work go all the way to infinity. And if they do the few months of embedding, integrating, and sustaining, they can sustain it. Okay?
Many thanks for watching this video. If you're a coach, healer, therapist or practitioner and would like to supercharge your online coaching business, then feel free to hit the link below in the description box where you can receive the successful 6-figure soul roadmap and training. It walks you through step by step on how to start, build and grow your online coaching business to success. See you in the next video.